the three forces driving the feather phase are actually the same forces that are at play during the rocket phase. So it's the interplay between the movement of the wholesale price, the behavior of the motorist, the consumer, you and me, but also then the retailer behavior and how they respond and are still responding to the damage inflicted to their business during the rocket phase. So with wholesale prices, what you see is wholesalers and distributors, what they are trying to look for is an equilibrium price as quickly as possible. And the reason for that is if you're a business, and these wholesalers don't just sell to petrol stations, they're selling to logistics companies and other businesses that consume an awful lot of fuel, fuel card providers, etc. They're trying to find that equilibrium price as quickly as possible, because the price of fuel, if you run a business, doesn't really matter as long as you know what the price of fuel is and you've budgeted for it and you've costed it into your contracts. So the wholesale market is trying to find that equilibrium point and a stability point as quickly as possible. You then have the retailers who, as I've already said, have taken double-digit margin hits during the rocket phase and in some cases have actually lost money. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get their business back on budget, back on the getting their P&L back into a healthy position as quickly as possible. And what they do is they then try to hold the prices and capture a bigger portion of the margin whilst the price is on the way down. That serves to slow down the prices. And then thirdly, you and me, we see the prices, we see the oil price come down, and we expect the petrol price to come down, and we do the exact reverse of what we did during the rocket phase. We hold off, we don't purchase, and that expensive fuel, which is still sitting underground in your local petrol station and in the tanks in the distribution supply chain, is still there. It's been purchased at the higher wholesale cost, and it therefore just takes, rather than flowing out of the system like water, as it does at the beginning of the rocket phase, it flows out in the feather phase like treacle, and it just takes much longer for that expensive fuel to wash out of the supply chain.
And critics would say that sounds like retailers taking advantage on the way down. How do you respond to that?
So I think because we have that clear evidence base there that the retailers are taking the hit in the early stage, I think the accusations that they're trying to take advantage, I think, are one, unfounded, but I think it's really unfair to retailers. What they're always trying to do is they are trying to offer and deliver a fair price to their business, but ultimately the margin that they take on every litre of fuel sold is the cash that business needs to keep the lights on, to pay their staff, and they need to recoup those costs when they take such a significant hit in the beginning of a period of volatility.